Is the spiritual world watching us? It's something we sometimes think about, but it's so far away that we have no idea of how things work. Unless we really have contact with the spiritual world to look from there to here, and see how things are here. Because when someone from the spiritual world speaks to us, it's always an outsourcing. Even here on earth, when a spirit embodies and talks to you, in the end, it's an outsourcing. I think we need to have our own experiences. Otherwise, a person speaks what they think, and you understand what you think. The sum of these gives a more or less bias. I think we need to have our own experiences. Imagine this. While we're here on earth, everything is peaceful, because you can do a lot of things. Here's what happens. Since you don't know who's watching you, and how they see you, it doesn't make any difference doing things hidden. Stealing an ashtray in a restaurant because everyone does it. Taking cutlery too, because everybody does it. Getting some nice napkins, because everyone does that. Stealing a plant from someone. We do all these things, but we always think no one is watching. I think it's a space we need to reflect on, to understand these things in life. Not that we're going to be full of limits, being controlled. That's not the point. The point is doing things with feeling, with complete freedom, and respecting others and their freedom. Then I think everything's okay. Imagine that we spend our lives doing things we think nobody knows about. Then one fine day, let's put it on a family level. Your relatives who go to the other side are watching you. They see what you do, what you think, and what you've already done. Even so, we still think we're unharmed. We're unharmed when we do everything in the best way. We have to recognize that we all make some mistakes. We need to have the intention of correcting them. It's very different from doing something and not giving it any importance. When you make a mistake, recognize it and say, "No, I can't do that anymore." Then you've undergone an internal reorganization. A reorganization of both you as a physical personality, someone who's using a physical vehicle, and also the emotional and spiritual. Then, I think we're growing a bit. It's important to know that those on the other side are always watching. I remember something that happened in my life that I must have already told. I always tell it, sometimes repeat, because I can't remember. Or I tell it, knowing I've already told. My grandfather was blind. When we paid him a visit, he was always sitting on a rocking chair. And he kept talking, because that's what he could do. He talked to people. An event happened in my life that I won't forget. I was very young, I must have been about 5 or 6, something like that. He lived in a wooden house, in a place called Educandos. He lived next to a bridge. His house was over there. People took care of him because of his difficulties. But he was very calm, even with this maximum difficulty that was the blindness. One day, he was on his rocking chair, there was a drawer, and I was a curious little boy. I went slowly, barefoot, to see the drawer. When I went to look in the drawer, he said, "Moises, don't touch that." I'll never forget that. It feels like he's talking to me now. I turned to him and said something like this, "Grandpa, aren't you blind?" He said, "I'm blind, my son, but I know what you're doing." Let me tell you something. There will be a day I'll see you and you won't see me as you do now. That's what he said to me. That's what I'm saying now on account of spiritualities that are present, just with a different vehicle. We don't give importance to it, because when the person is alive, we don't do anything good for them. Or when we do, it's always with some interest or with some convenience. When the person dies, the moment of death is a moment of high emotion. Then, people ask for forgiveness, or say the person was very good, or wish they would go and meet with more evolved spirits, or go to heaven. All these things we say because we don't see that life is continuity. If you could see from there to here, your attitudes would be very different. This is a real thing of our lives. In other words, how do spirits see us from the other side? They see everything we're doing. They don't only see our physical part, but they also see the spirits that accompany us. In other words, everything we do that is always a sin for us, for them, it is nothing. I even think it's very funny, because what really gets in our way are exactly the emotional things we create. Concepts, prejudices, and all the measures to protect us from things that sometimes are the most normal. And we put it as a sin. Things that fall under a law, so strict that there's no way around it. You have to suffer the punishment of your own laws, either set by us socially or by our internal laws that evaluate us at every moment, like a super-ego that stands there, watching what you do and what you don't. This item, the spiritual consciousnesses that observe us, it's obvious they see everything. They see much more than we can imagine. And one day, when we use only the spiritual vehicle, we will see it too. It's very good to improve ourselves, otherwise we'll only see the things we have more affinity. You won't see the best things, like you could when you had the physical vehicle. That's it.
Would you like to participate in a work of energy giving from afar that is benefiting thousands of people? Click on the link below for more information.